You've also done quite a bit of public speaking in Spanish. Talk about how you got started with that and some of the events and organizations that you have partnered with.
Yeah, so I got started with that just simply because I am a great believer in the people of Mexico, right? I look at our country, and I say our country because I was born here, so I can't deny my birth country.
Yeah.
At least I think I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so I look at the country. We have a population of about 120 million people. We have lots of trees, which translates into wood, into lumber, into paper. We have lots of rivers, freshwater rivers. We have 2 major oceans on each side. We're the neighbor to the biggest consumer nation in the world. We have gold mines, silver mines, copper mines, steel mines, plutonium mines, etc. We have lots of oil, lots of natural gas. We have jungle ecosystems, desert. We have wonderful, very fertile, producing agricultural land. We have mountaintops. We have wonderful, beautiful beaches, some of the best in the world. And yet, you go visit a small country like Dubai, which is probably the state of Chihuahua, that has 4.5 million people. And all of a sudden, you live in you become enveloped by all of the luxury and by all of the organization or the orderly conduct of the people and of the highway systems, the infrastructure, and the way business is done. And then you come back and you're depressed because we have way more than that country does, and yet we live. Like half of our population lives in poverty.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Totally unacceptable.
Yeah,
and so, I mean, I'm one person, right? But I believe that the only way that we can ever truly get out of where we're from or where we're under is by first changing the way we think, right? And so, if we transform our minds, then we have at least a shot at doing something else. I mean, I remember living in Texas and on Saturdays and Sundays going through the trash dumpsters. I mean, that was our thing, right? And that's where we got our toys from. That's where we often got clothes from because we found clothes in there. That's where we got whatever from. And I don't regret that. And I don't even look down upon that, right? I think it was a great formative stage of my life. So I look at the Mexican people and I say, well, if poverty starts in the mind and what we need is to first be transformed in our mind, then someone at least needs to talk about it. And so along those lines, I started talking about it and I started doing some speeches and some conferences and so on. But that's been my goal. It's still my goal. It's still something that we partake in. Some of the organizations that we've connected with have been there's a church in Chihuahua that we've connected with. There's also an organization out of Paraguay called Jesús Responde al Mundo, so Jesus responds to the world. And so they now have a division in Mexico. I sit on the board, and so through there we also do some speaking events for more the business community, if you will. So that's kind of what we've done. We formed our own organization here as well. It's called Éxito Total, which means total success. So we call it total success because success is not economical success. It's a facet of being successful. And successful does not mean being a millionaire. It means having enough for yourself and a little bit more to help or share with somebody else. And so that's what we basically do in terms of speaking and going out and helping, right? I think we need to do a lot more of it, but I guess it's all about priorities at the end of the day. So.
And so that organization will partner with churches and then other community organizations to, with the speaking and then.
Yeah, so basically what we'll do is we'll offer, especially the churches, we'll offer to do an event or host an event for free.
Yeah.
And then we'll come in and we'll do the whole thing.
Yeah.
We'll do the speaking, the teaching, the training, and the Q&A sessions, and just helping the people walk through that step by step. That's more when we work with a church or with an event. Those have been mainly in Spanish. That's my target market. I'm not saying that we haven't done that in German and in English. We have.
For sure.
But definitely my target market is the Spanish-speaking world. And so that's what we've done there. And in terms of material, I mean, I always want to refer first to the Bible. And if any business guy asks me, well, what part, like, what do you want me to read? Right? Well, read Proverbs.
Yeah.
Like start with Proverbs. It's got 31 chapters. Read one chapter a day for every day of the month. And any month that doesn't have 31 days, we'll read all 3 chapters or 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. But in the middle of all this, I got to know a gentleman by the name of Peter J. Daniels. He's a speaker, businessman from Australia, and so I was able to go and meet him, and so on and so on. And so I've negotiated the distribution rights for all of his books and all of his material for Spanish, right? So we've got that translated just recently. We have to make some more corrections, but phase 1 is done.
Yeah.
And so we definitely promote a lot of his material.
Yeah.
His material, his books, they're not really big books. They're very thin, to the point.
Yeah, for sure.
There's really no fluff in it. They're more like manuals, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's like personal self-help books. It's goal setting. It's way of thinking. It's values. It's codes of conduct, etc.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of where we're geared to, because again, we think that most people don't do what they say, they do what they think.
Yeah.
So if we can influence the way you think about something by what you read and by what you hear and by what you see, then we have a shot at actually turning some of these things around.